All right, so this is a quadratic. Okay, how many solutions does that first graph have? Has 2. Okay, how many does the second one have? 1, and the last one has. So if it has none, last week, those are called non-real. What? Starts with a C. Complex. Good. Non-real complex roots. Okay? Now, number 1 says that you now know that any quadratic equation with real coefficients has at least one complex root. Okay? So it talks about the cubic. Flip back in your paper to page 'This might have not been this topic. Go to topic 5 in your book. And it was that chart that has the degrees, the even degrees and the odd degrees and the number of zeros. Page 125. Alright, the question asks about complex roots. How many roots can a cubic function have? Cubic function is what degree? What's a cubic function? First degree, second degree, or third degree? Third degree, okay? So look on your third degree column. What's the least number of zeros it has? Huh? Do y'all have this filled out? Y'all should have it filled out. Huh? The least number. 1. And it goes to what? 3. So on your paper on the right or left side we wrote even numbers start with 0 and odd numbers start with what? 1. Do y'all have that written down? Yes? Okay. So on number 1, it wants to know you have a quadratic equation with real coefficients have at least one complex root. Can a similar statement be made about cubic equations? Explain. Well, cubic equations must have at least how many complex roots? What's the least number they can have? 1. So on number 1, they have the least of 1 complex root. If you hit check, it shows you that. All right, on number 2, and quite a few more, we're going to do long division, but with polynomials, okay? All right, let's see. So we have a polynomial of x cubed minus 2x squared plus x minus 2 equals 0. Okay? It says divide that polynomial by x minus 2. Use the result to write the cubic polynomial as a product of a linear and quadratic factor. Okay. Let's see, how can I... There we go. All right. So we have... You're going to want to write this down. X cubed minus 2x squared plus x minus 2 equals 0. Divided by x minus 2. All right, now we're going to set this up just like a division problem. Just like we always would if we said 42 divided by 7. Okay. Okay, so first, you take the first term on the inside and the outside. What is the first term on the inside you see? X what? X cubed. So out to the side, you're going to write, until you can do this without having to write it, you need to write it every time because you just get so confused. So you got x cubed. First term on the inside divided by the first term on the outside. What's the first term on the outside? Just x. Now, when you divide, you subtract your exponents. So what exponent is just on that bottom x? Just 1. So what's 3 minus 1? 2. So x cubed divided by an x is an x squared. Okay? So, up top, you have an x squared. Your answer, which is on top, is always going to be 1 less the degree. So if you start with an x cubed, you know that your answer has to be an x what? An x squared. So if we start with an x4, our degree has to be an x cubed. Okay? So now, think about when you do long division. First you see how many times it can go into it, and then you do what operation? Not subtraction, before subtraction. If I said, oh, that one don't work. Let's do 2. How many times does 2 go into 4? 2. Then you do what? Before you subtract, multiply. Okay? So now, we multiply x squared and x minus 2. So an x squared times an x is an x cubed. And then an x squared times a negative 2 is a negative 2x squared. Are y'all following me? Kinda? Now, we've divided, we multiply, and now we do what? Think about long division. You subtract. Okay, here's where it gets tricky. Anytime you do this, this is what I want you to do. Subtract. You got a minus sign, and then I want you to put this in parentheses. Because if not, you will forget to subtract the second term. Most of the time, you just have one term to subtract when you're just using numbers. But here you have two terms. So you have to use that parentheses. Okay? So, an x cubed minus an x cubed. It just goes where? What's x cubed minus x cubed? What's x minus x? 0. So x cubed minus x cubed is what? Just 0. Just goes away. Now, you have a negative 2x squared. Let me change the color. You have a negative 2x squared minus a negative 2. These two negatives make a what? A positive. So you have a negative 2 plus 2. What's a negative 2 plus 2? 0. So this goes away too. And I'm bringing down my x minus 2. So now you have to start over again. How many times does x minus 2, right here, go into this x minus 2? Just once. So we have plus 1. 1 plus x minus, or 1 times x minus 2 is just x minus 2. When you subtract those, what do you get? X minus 2 minus x minus 2 is just 0. So there's my answer. X squared plus 1 is my answer. Now, this right here is what type of function? What's the highest degree? What'd you start with? An x cubed. Okay? So, I'm going to have 3 solutions. So when I have a solution, I have to get what letter by itself? X or Y? What kind of intercepts are our solutions? X-intercepts or Y-intercepts? You're killing me. X-intercepts or Y-intercepts? X. How do I solve that? This right here. X minus 2 equals 0. How do I solve that for x? Huh? Thank you. Add 2 to both sides. So one of my solutions is 2. I'll put it on my desk. All right, next, you have the top, okay? So we got x squared plus 1 equals 0. I have to solve that. I'm going to erase all this so y'all can see it better. First thing I got to do is what? Add 1 or subtract 1? Subtract 1. So I have x squared equals negative 1. How do you get rid of a square? You take... Oh, y'all can't see that. Nope, that's not what it says. Hold on. You take the square root. Can you take the square root of a negative number? Yes or no?
No.
No. So when you can't take the square root, you take the square root of the positive number and put what beside it? So what's the square root of positive 1? Oh my goodness. What is the square root of 1? Just 1. So my answer is 1 what? 1I. Whew, I think we need to stand up and do some jumping jacks. So you can say 1I or you can say what? Just an I. Just an I. Yeah, plus or minus I. That was so rough. Okay. Maybe the next one will be better. All right, go to the next page. Wait, we just did that. We're supposed to write that on B. So if you wrote that down, just write like B, so you know it goes with B. Or you can just copy that on B if you want to. It actually goes with C. This is B and C. Here's the solution. Here's a solution. So B asks you how to find the solutions, which is setting them equal to 0 and solving. And C asks for the actual solutions, what your answers are. So x equals 2. And x equals plus or minus I. All right, so this is called long division. In a minute, we're going to do synthetic division. And synthetic division is a whole lot easier, I think. Okay? Are y'all ready for me to move on? Y'all need me to wait? We good? Okay. All right. Number 3. Oh, there's the answers. I don't need that. No. Okay. Number 3 wants us to use long division and show that x minus 4 is a factor. So x minus 4, that's what we're dividing by. X cubed minus 2x squared minus 7x minus 4. Okay? So, first, how many times, first of all, what's the first step? The first term on the inside divided by the first term on the outside. Okay? So we have an x cubed divided by an x just gives me an x what? Just an x squared. So first we divide, then we multiply. So I'm multiplying x squared times x minus 4. And x squared times an x is a x, what? X cubed. And an x squared times a negative 4 is a negative 4 x squared. So we've divided, we've multiplied, and now we have to subtract. So we subtract, but what do we put around our terms?
Parentheses.
We put parentheses so we don't forget to subtract the second term. Okay? So an x cubed minus an x cubed, it's just what? It's just 0, so we'll just cross it out. Now, we have a negative 2x squared minus a negative 4x squared. So these two negatives on the bottom become a what? A positive. So now we have a negative 2 plus 4, which leaves me with a positive 2. What do you always do in multiplication? You do what to that term? That next term? You drop it down. So negative x. Now, we start over again. We take the first term, right here, and we divide it by this first term. So, 2x squared divided by an x is a what? What number's in front of this x that we don't write? Of 1. So first, what's 2 divided by 1? Just 2. So we've used those. Now we have to do x squared divided by x to get just an x. 2 minus 1 is just 1. So we have a 2x. So that goes on top. Plus 2x. So we've divided. Now we do what? Multiply. So 2x times x minus 4. Well, a 2x times another x is a 2x squared. And a 2x times a negative 4 is a negative 8. Yep. Now we subtract and we put what around our terms? Parentheses. 2x squared minus 2x squared just is what? Just 0, so it goes away. Now we have this negative 7x minus a negative 8x. But these two negatives make a positive, so you have a negative 7 plus 8, which leaves you with how many x's? Just 1. So now we have to bring down that last term. What's our last term we have to bring down? How many times does x minus 4 go into x minus 4? Just once. 1 times x minus 4 is just so here is my answer. X squared plus 2x plus 1. So what that means is if I took my answer up top and I multiplied it by my factor. What's my factor? In this problem, what's the factor? What'd you divide by? X minus 4. So if I took the quotient and I multiplied it by the factor, I should get what I started with, right? Yes? Everybody agree? Okay. So now, We had a factor of x minus 4. Okay, we want to find the solution. So what am I going to do? Set that equal to 0 and solve. So this solution is what? What do I have to do to get x by itself? So there's one solution. All right. When we divided, we were left with an x squared, then what? Plus 2x plus 1. All right. What kind of equation is that? Is that a linear equation, a quadratic equation, or a cubic equation? It's a quadratic, okay? So last week, maybe a week before that, I don't remember, I guess it was last week, we learned all those ways to solve a quadratic, okay? What was this one called? The x, the big X, okay? So remember, A equals, B equals, and C equals. A goes with my x squared term. So what number is in front of x squared? 1. What number is in front of B? Or in front of the x, which is our B? 2. And our C is our constant, so it is just 1. Okay? So, B goes in the bottom of our X. So, what number is going in the bottom? 2. And what number is going in the top? A times C. So, 1 times 1 is just 1. So, we have to have 2 numbers that add to get 2, but at the same time, they multiply to get 1. What are they? 1 and 1. So, we have an x plus 1 equals 0, and an x plus 1 equals 0. Oh. How do you solve x plus 1 equals 0? What do? You subtract 1, and you get x equals x equals negative 1. Okay? Now, since these are the same, what kind of root is that? Talked about it last week. There's the D. It means 2. Huh? I think you play this in tennis. Anybody play? No. What do you, no, what, like in tennis you play a single match or you play a double match. That's what it is. It's a double root. Okay, it's double because they're two the same thing. Okay, so we have 3 answers. X equals 4. X equals negative 1 and x equals negative 1. But these are called what roots? Double roots. Okay? Now, the fun part synthetic. Is it what we? That's different. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to this and just do it. All right. So we have x minus 4 is our factor. And we have x cubed minus 2x squared minus 7x minus 4. Okay. So, on synthetic, you draw a big L. Well, it's kind of a sideways L. Okay? In the top of your L, you list the coefficient. What is a coefficient? A number or a letter? Number or a letter, coefficient. Y'all know this. Coefficient is a what? A number, okay? It's a number. So you are listing your coefficients. So what number is in front of the x cubed? 1. All your writing's a 1. What number is in front of the x squared? -2. Make sure you keep your sign. What number is in front of the x? -7. And what number is the constant? -4. Okay. When you start to listing your coefficients, if you have something that is missing, like it just went from x cubed to -7x, you would put in a 0 for that placeholder. Okay, you can't just skip it. You have to put in a 0. Okay? So, in the L, you list your terms, coefficients. That's all you do. On the outside, you have to find your solution from your factor. My factor is x minus 4. Okay? I want to find my solution, though. So what do I have to do? I have to set it equal to 0, and then I solve for what letter? What's the only letter it's got? X. So my solution is 4. 4 goes on the outside. All right. This is where it gets confusing. You always bring down the first term. What's the first term in that L? 1. So you were literally just bringing it straight down. Okay? Now, you multiply. 1 times 4. What's 1 times 4? 4. And then you combine. A -2 plus 4 is a +2. Now you multiply again. 4 times 2, which is 8. Then you combine again. Negative 7 plus 8 is a 1. Then you multiply again. 1 times 4 is 4. And then you combine again. And negative 4 plus 4 is 0. So now, like a few minutes ago, I said your answer is 1 more degree or 1 less degree? 1 less. So what did we start with? What's the highest degree that we started with on number 4? We started with a cube. So 1 less than a cube is a square. So watch what I do. What I do? I just filled in by coefficients. Now that 0 means I don't have a remainder. If I had a remainder, that it would be another. It would be a number, but I don't have a remainder. So this is my answer. That's the same thing as what we did, except that is called synthetic division. We were doing long division. So, how many of you like long division better? How many of you like synthetic division better? I like synthetic. It's much easier. It's less steps. And you just multiply and you just add. Okay. All right, number 5. All right, suppose you know that x equals 2. Do you already have your solution when it says x equals something? Or do you have to solve? You already got it, okay? So we're just writing our 2. And then we're making our L. All right, I'm writing my coefficients in that L. Okay? So, Dallas, what is the term in front of x cubed? 1. Lawson, what is the term in front of x squared? Negative 2. Grant, what is the term in front of the x? Not 2. In front of the x. Number 5. Not 0. What is it, Emma? Positive 1 or negative 1? Negative 1. And Brody, what is our constant term? 2. So all we do is write the number in front of those x's. Okay? So the first thing we do is bring down the first term. What is the first term? 1. So we're just bringing it down. Nicholas, what do I do next? 1 times 2, which is 2. Then I combine. So a negative 2 plus a 2 is a 0. And then I do what? 0 times 2, which is 0. A -1 plus 0 is a -1. A -1 times a 2 is a -2. 2 minus 2 is what? 0. Okay. Oh, that's a bad 0. So I want to start my quotient with 1 less power. What power did we start with? We started with a cube. Okay? So I want to start with a square. So go ahead and write x squared and an x. And then you're going to have your constant, whatever it is. So we'll do this. What number goes in front of that x squared? 1. What number goes in front of the x? Negative. You got to keep them in order. 0. And what's our constant? -1. You just keep going in order. Now, this last term is always your remainder. Okay? If it has a 0x, a 0x squared, a 0x cubed, a 0 whatever, do you have to write it? No. So this answer would just be x squared minus 1. All right, so that's long division, synthetic division. Now, go to page 163, number 8. We'll come back to number 7. And go to page 9 on Agile Mind. Okay. You must know these. If you don't know them, you will not be able to do cubic functions. Okay, so out beside number 8, you need to write, I have to know these. And they're very easy. You just have to know like one thing. Okay. First, a cubed plus b cubed. Okay. The best way to remember this, what kind of sign is in the middle? It's a plus sign. Okay. When you factor that, you have a plus sign first. So remember, plus, plus. It has a plus sign. It has to have a plus sign. Okay? The second step is a minus plus. So, an a squared minus AB plus a B squared. So I just remembered the signs. That's all I know. Plus, minus, plus. Okay? For subtraction, what do you think is going to come first? A plus B or A minus B? A minus B. Then all the second stuff is A squared plus AB plus B squared. So a subtraction set is minus, plus, plus. And I'll show you why in just a minute. So on your Agile Mind, drag the factors into the correct position. We good? Oh, we don't want to do that one yet. We want to go to B. So on the next side, B, next page, it says prove. What does the word prove mean? Show that it's what? Show that it's correct. Show it's right. Okay? So, what I want you to do for the first one, we're going to do two of them because we have a plus and we have a minus. So, for the first one, we got us a box. Okay? We're going to have 2 rows. And we're going to have 3 columns. Up top is going to, or on the side, we're going to have the A plus the B. And then up top, we're going to have the A squared minus the AB and plus the B squared. And now we're going to prove ourselves. Okay? So, an A squared times an A is an A, what? A cubed. All right. To the right, we have a negative AB times an A is going to be a negative A squared and just that B. To the right again, we have a negative B squared, not a negative B squared, a positive B squared, and an A.
Excuse the interruptions. I need sophomores. A through L to come to the little theater for the class ring meeting, and you need to make sure to bring something to write with. Again, A through L.
Surely you won't be in there for 35 minutes. I would leave it. I mean, you can take it if you want to, but God, that. All right, we're gonna keep rolling. You people watch the video. Wait, you don't go. Right? A through L? Is that last name? Yeah.
Unless we're talking about like my very first one.
go, bro.
You go. It's
Join
your last
her.
name.
But I don't know what they're talking about.
They're talking about last name.
Both of yours go.
Bless. Okay. We're going to keep rolling. A squared times B is A squared B. A negative AB times a B is a negative AB squared. And a B squared times a B is a B cubed. Now, we got to combine. Is there anything you can knock out? Here's a positive A squared B. And here's a negative A squared B. So can I cancel those out? Yep. Here's a negative AB squared. And here's a positive AB squared. Can I cancel those out? So what am I left with? Is that what we originally had? Our two factors on part A. You get A cubed plus B cubed when you multiply the two factors that we just did, right? Yep. All right. The next one, we want to prove the second one. All I'm doing is changing my signs. So go ahead and make you, let me just make another one. Go ahead and make you another box like we just had. Once you have it filled out on the top and the side, I want you to fill out the middle. Once you're done, check yours with mine. Did y'all get it? Does it match mine? Did we prove ourselves? Yes. Okay. So now, here's how you solve these cubics. All right, this is number 9. Okay. 9a. We have 8x cubed minus 125. Now, just like you get rid of a square, you take the square root. To get rid of a cube, I'm going to take the, what kind of root? To get rid of a square, I take the square root. So to get rid of the cube, I take the cube root. Okay? So, right after the directions on number 9, I want you to write, take the cube root of both numbers. When you take the cube root of the numbers, you're just taking the numbers. You're not including the sign. Just the numbers. Okay? So, on A, I want you to write 8x cubed, and I want you to write 125. First, taking the cube root of both numbers. Okay. What do you think happens to this 3 and this 3? You got a cube, and you're taking the cube root. So you're essentially just getting rid of it. They're just canceling out. Oh my gosh. Why does it keep doing that? Now, in your calculator, or in your head, whichever, I want you to find me the cube root of 8. So, to do the cube root, you hit Math 4, and it brings up the cube root. Does everybody say that cube root? All right, so you're just typing in 8, and you're hitting Enter. So what's the cube root of 8? 2. So what that means is 2 times 2 times 2 equals what? 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay. Now, the cube root of 8 is 2. But I and you want to know the cube root of 8x. So, this answer is going to be 2x. Another way to think of it that I've always thought and taught is to divide your root and your power. So my root is 3, my power is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So how many x's do I have? Just 1. Okay? Now, find the cube root of 125. Huh? 5? All right. These are my answers. Okay? What kind of sign did we start with on A? Are we adding it or are we subtracting it? We're subtracting it. 8x cubed minus 125. Okay? So, what I want you to do first, until you learn the formulas, I want you to write out A minus B, and then it's A squared minus AB minus, nope, it's plus, A squared plus AB plus B squared. All right, what comes first in the alphabet, A or B? A. So if we're going in order, did 8x cubed come first or did 125 come first? What do we find first? The cube root of 8x cubed or the cube root of 125? 8x cubed, okay? So 2x comes first. A comes first in the alphabet. So 2x equals A. So 5 is going to equal what? B. So now all you do is you take A and B and you plug it into that. So the first set of parentheses says A minus B. So it's going to say what minus what?
Oh, you want us to plug it in?
Mm-hmm.
2x minus 5.
Yep, 2x minus 5. All right, the second set is going to be A squared. So if A is 2x, 2x squared is what? What's 2 squared? 4. What's x squared? Just x squared. So it'll be 4x squared. What's A times B? 2x times 5, 10x. And B squared, so 5 times 5 is 25. So that is the factoring pattern for the difference. What's the word difference mean? Subtract the difference of 2 cubes. Okay. Questions? The more you work them, the easier they get. Promise. All right, let's do the next one. All right, this is 9b. So we have a 27y cubed plus a 64z cubed. Okay? So since it's adding, are we going to use the sum of 2 cubes or are we going to use the difference of 2 cubes? Remember, your signs stay the same. So if it's adding, we're going to use the sum or we're going to use the difference? We're going to use the sum. So go ahead and write your sum formula. A plus B, A squared, minus AB plus B squared. All right, the first step is to take what kind of root of both numbers? The cube root. Okay? So we have a cube root of 27y cubed. And we have a cube root of 64z cubed. What's a cube root of 27? 3, because 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 3 is 27. So we have 3. Is it just 3? 3y. Why 3y, Jawan?
Because it's like y cubed.
Right, it's y cubed. So you got this 3, And you got this 3, and 3 divided by 3 leaves me with 1y. Okay? What's the cube root of 64? 4. So the cube root of 64z cubed is 64. You got a cube root and you got a cube. You divide them. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. So how many z's do I have left?
1.
Just 1. So it's just a 3z or a 4z. Okay? The first one's always A because A comes first in the alphabet. Second one's B because B comes second in the alphabet. Dalton, what's my first set of parentheses going to say?
3y plus 4z.
Good. 3y plus 4z. All right. A squared. Kimberlyn, what's A squared? If A is 3y, and I square that, 3 squared is 9. And y times y is a y squared. All right, then we have minus a times b. Kendall, what is a times b?
12y.
Yep, 12yz. And then we have a plus b squared. Grace, what would b squared be? If we have a 4z for our b, and I square that, what's 4 squared? 4 times 4. 16. And z times z is z. What's z times z? Z squared. So this would be my answer for the second one. Does it kind of make sense? Kind of, sort of? All right. Next. Oops, I didn't mean to erase that. All right, next is C, and we have a p cubed minus a 216 r to the 6th. Does it matter what letter we use? Obviously not, because we used half the letters in the alphabet. Okay? So, is this going to be a sum of 2 cubes or a difference of 2 cubes? It's going to be a difference. Why? Because we keep the same sign and we're subtracting. Okay? So go ahead. Write your difference. The first thing I must do is take the what kind of root of both terms? Cube root. All right, the cube root of p cubed. What number is in front of that p that we don't write? Just 1. So if it helps you, go ahead and put you a 1 right there. So what's the cube root of 1p? We're just going to be left with a what? Just a p. Because we take our power, which is 3, we divide it by our root. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so we have 1p left. Okay? Is p the same thing as 1p? Yeah. Okay. Now, find the cube root of 216. What is it? 6. Okay. Now, what do you notice about this one? What's the power on it? 6. So now, I don't have just one r left. I have how many r's? Not 3. What's 6 divided by 3? 2. So I have a 6r squared. So if you want to write somewhere, because we haven't written this, let's think. Let me think. What's number of letters equals power divided by root. So if my power was 12, okay, and I had a root of 3, how many letters would I have? I have 4, because 12 divided by 3 is 4. Okay. So now, is P going to be A or B? It's going to be A. And 6r squared is going to be B. So take those two and plug them into your parentheses. All right, the B squared. My B is already 6r squared. But if I square that again, it's going to give me a 36r to the 4. Did everybody get that? Let's see. All right, questions on this? No? Okay. Go to, here's the same thing that we just did. It just showed you the answer. Don't show you how to work it. All right. So I want you to go to page 11 on Agile Mind, and it's also number 11. All right, these are called area models. I'm not a fan of an area model.
Now I need sophomores M through Z, and again, please remember to bring something to write with.
All right. So what I'm gonna do
Again,
now?
M through Z to the little theater.
Should we take our stuff away?
Yeah, go ahead and take your stuff. I'm not gonna go any further. I'm gonna teach them what we just did. Okay.